is the BRRRR method for real estate and how does it work? Today in this video, we're going to go over what the BRRRR method stands for and how it actually works. We're going to go over the math associated with the BRRRR method and how it actually breaks down. And then finally, we're going to go over all the different things you need to understand to successfully implement that BRRRR method and what are some of the pitfalls to look out for so it can help you create that financial freedom in your life. So let's get into it. My name is Mathew Owens. I'm a California licensed CPA, full-time real estate investor. We've flipped over 1,000 houses now, have over 35 million lent out to flippers in different markets around the country, do a lot of value add multifamily strategies and syndication investments, and invest both actively and passively in real estate full-time for the last 16 plus years. And it's been a great journey. We've done tons of BRRRR method type strategies in our business to help create that financial freedom for ourselves as well as our clients in real estate. And so what does the BRRRR method actually stand for? Okay, so it's buy, renovate, rent, refinance. That's the typical strategy. So you're going to buy it, you're going to renovate it, you're going to rent that property, and then you're going to refinance and hopefully pull all of your capital back out of that deal. So the goal is to get all of your capital back, or the majority of your capital back, after you refinance that deal. Okay. So in order to actually do that, you have to be in the property for less than 70% of the after repaired market value. So if you improve that value to a new value based on doing your renovation, you need to be in it for less than 70% of that when you consider all of your costs involved in the actual project. Okay. So you're talking about zero money out of pocket after the refinance to successfully do that BRRRR method. Okay. So that cost to value, that 70% figure, is very, very important in order to do this successfully. Otherwise, you're not going to get all of your money back out of the deal and you're going to be left with some capital in. Now, that may not be a bad thing because you want to make sure you're conservative on your financing and it cash flows well enough. You also want to make sure that, you know, you're doing it right and having the right renovation done up front. So whatever your end number looks like, you know, you can still leave some money in the deal and still get a big chunk of your money back using that BRRRR method type refinance. And, you know, understanding that your return on investment on the capital left in the deal is typically going to be really, really high because you're able to get the majority of your capital back and not be in it for a full 20 or 25% down on the purchase of a property. Okay. So it can still increase your return on investment massively when you are still not able to hit that 70% figure. Okay. So, and the reason I say that is because you have to incorporate all of your costs, right? And a lot of people don't understand, you know, you might have your full costs up front. You have your purchase price, your renovation amount, your interest, your closing costs, your utilities, your insurance, your property taxes. There's a number of costs up front for you to be underneath your 70% threshold. And then you have the lender refinance costs on the back end, which might equate to close to 5% of the project costs. And you're able to refinance up to 75% to 80% max loan to value. I would recommend being conservative and staying at the 75% max type situation, especially when there's a volatile market potentially ahead and potential recessions looming. So being careful on your numbers there and making sure that you are conservative on your refinance guidelines and you still have some good cash flow there is absolutely key to your success. Now you have inspection costs, you have appraisal costs, all of those things get added in on the back end, even after you're into it for that 70% loan to value type situation, or that 70% cost to the after repaired value. Okay. So now you want to work backwards to come up with your purchase price here. So you come up with all of your other costs, what your market value is going to be, multiply it by 70%. That's your max cost. You're going to subtract out your closing costs, your interest costs, your renovation costs, all of your other costs involved, and then you're going to come up with what's my bottom line price that I need to hit in order to successfully do this method, and back into what your purchase price needs to be and what you need to buy that building for. Now, sometimes you don't know what the renovation number is until you get out to the property, and so you come up with a preliminary number and then drop your price up and down depending on what that final renovation number looks like to you based on that project and what you can negotiate from that seller. Okay, so now what do you need to do to become successful at this method, to actually do this? What knowledge base do you need to have? So the first thing you need to do is you need to know how to market to find discounted properties, whether that's pay by click, direct mail, finding relationships in the market specifically that see the distress, other wholesalers out there, and doing tons of different marketing methods, buying lists to do these things to market to these different homeowners, being able to market correctly to get the lead flow in the first place to be able to buy discounted properties is absolutely key. Okay. Secondarily, you need to know how to help the sellers. There's no way you are going to get your price that you need to buy that for without adding value to your sellers. Now, what are the strategies that people use, wholesalers and fix and flip investors utilize to be able to get these properties under contract at a discounted price? They add value through, hey, can I buy this property in cash and closing in 2 weeks? Can I save your credit? Can I help you with moving costs? Can I pay off all of your credit card debt and take you from this financial situation to this financial situation over here? What are all the strategies you can help that homeowner with? Can you wait a period of time and let them move out later? There's so many ways of being able to help that seller to trade the price for additional secondary value that you bring to the table, so they don't have to deal with trying to sell this on the open market and all the headaches that go into that type of strategy. Okay, so you also need to know how to analyze the math of a deal. How do you comp out properties to know what your after repaired market value is? How do you know what a renovation is going to cost? Breaking down the interior, the exterior, and all the major systems of those properties, so that way you know what your costs are going to be. You have to know what that profitability is, and like I mentioned, backing in to your purchase price of that asset. Okay, so you also have to have your team in place. Contractors, property managers, realtors, inspectors, insurance agents, CPAs, attorneys, all those people should be in place before you ever get something under contract in the first place, so that you can have them readily available to give you your construction bids, give you your rental estimates on your properties if you don't know how to comp those out. You also have to learn how to comp those properties out on the rental side too, not just market value, because it's not just about the market value of the property. It's a matter of what your rental amounts are as well, to make sure you're cash flowing well enough on the back end of this thing from a cash flow perspective, not just the 70% threshold here. A lot of investors get into trouble because they look at that 70% threshold or that 75% threshold, and they forget about the actual cash flow. Are they going to be in a negative cash flow situation when they go and rent that property out if they're trying to refinance and get all of their costs out of that deal? Okay, so you also have to have your capital sources available. So if you could have that capital yourself, or you could also utilize someone else's capital. But typically when you buy a property that needs renovation, you might have a hard money lender in place or a private lender in place that can come in with the first position lien. And then there's going to be some additional costs above that potentially that you have to put in yourself and put as a down payment down, or bring in an outside capital partner that can do that. So having that lined up front too is absolutely key to being able to buy it, renovate it, and then of course refinance it on the back end and pull all your money back out. You pay off your hard money lender and pay off your capital investor, or pay back your capital on the back end there. So having that private lender in place is key. Now, there are some major pitfalls that you need to be aware of when you're doing the BRRRR method from a refinance. So you got to pay very, very close attention to renovation overages, cost overages, and timeline overages. there's costs and renovation overages can blow your budget out of the water, and you won't be able to hit that 70% threshold. Same thing with timeline overages. That kills you in interest costs, which then increases your cost and makes it so that it's hard to do the BRRRR method refinance. So making sure your numbers work with an additional renovation overage, with additional cost overage, which additional timeline overage, is absolutely key, in being conservative on your renovation numbers before you ever take down a property is very, very important. Okay. In addition to that, if you're refinancing, you're in it for 70%, you refinance up to a 75% loan to value loan, then you still want to make sure this thing cash flows on a monthly basis. Okay. So you need to be making at least a couple $100s a month after you consider a vacancy allowance, a management fee, a property taxes, insurance, a repairs allowance, your loan payment, all capex on the deal, making sure you allocate all of your costs correctly, so you know no matter what, I'm still making at least a couple $100s a month in cash flow, so that if there is some market volatility, you're in a good shape there. And you want to make sure you're covered from the downside risk. If your rents drop by 20% because there's a recession and affordability is crunched, are you still going to be okay? Don't just leverage to the hilt thinking, oh, great, I'm break even in cash flow here. If you could be in a negative cash flow situation very, very quickly if you don't do this correctly. Okay. So making sure you have all of your major systems covered is absolutely key too. People think, oh, great, I'm in it for less than 70% of value, but they don't realize maybe that water heater or those appliances or the roof might have only a few years left of useful life on that project, which means that you will have a capital infusion in the near future for those items, which means that you're not going to be in it for nothing anymore. You need to make sure that you have the right allocation of those costs up front. So if your roof is going to need to be replaced in the next few years, put that money aside. That should be included in your renovation budget. Even if you don't do that roof now, it should be included in your all-in cost when you're coming up to that 70% figure, so you can successfully do that. So making sure you cash flow well, budgeting for those major renovation overages, budgeting for all the major capex that you're not doing right away, and making sure you have that downside risk protection is key to this strategy for long-term success. You don't want to be successful at refinancing and getting all your money out if you're just bleeding over here for the next 5 years because there's a major problem that occurs, or you have a major additional capital infusion you have to put in the near future. So I hope this video helped you guys understand the BRRRR method and some of the pitfalls that can happen, and some of the successes that you can utilize it for to create financial freedom in your life. If you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will be coming out with tips and tricks to help you on your real estate journey and help create financial freedom in your life. So thanks so much, and I will talk with you soon. Do you want to learn how to create financial freedom in your life through real estate and take your investing business to the next level? If so, you can follow us in one of the following ways. First, you can take one of our free webinars on how to analyze property, how to raise capital for real estate, and how to market and find deals. 3 of the key pillars to becoming a successful real estate investor. Number 2, you can join us on our mailing list, where you'll get tips and tricks on real estate investing directly to your inbox. And number 3, you can take our 6-month real estate course that teaches you every aspect of real estate investing you can think of, and more importantly, create financial freedom in your life through real estate investing strategies that I teach. If you want a master's in real estate in 6 months, this course is for you. We're going to go over how to raise money, promissory notes, syndications, fixing and flipping, buy and hold investing, tax and legal structures, self-directed retirement accounts, financial education, how to run a business, how to market and find your deals, and most importantly, how to create that financial freedom in your life so that you can stop trading your time for money and create passive real estate cash flow that you can live off of. If you're interested, go ahead and click on one of the links below, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the other side.